Welcome in, everybody, to the first episode of Conversations with Eli Moon here on the Inside Edge Network. I'm your host, Eli Moon, and I may look familiar to some of you here that have been tuning in to the Inside Edge Network. I am one of the three co-hosts of the main event on Sunday nights with Rob Brzezicki and AA Anthony Alford, where I'll be giving all my takes on the NFL, the Cleveland Browns, the Cavaliers, the Guardians, and all sports related stories and news. And then I'm also the producer for my Pops podcast, Real Talk with Papa Moon, Saturdays at 5 p.m. here on the Inside Edge Network. And today I wanted to introduce a new podcast where we will be talking about music, the music business, and stories that are just incredible. We're going to have artists, producers, DJs, videographers. We're going to have venue owners, people that are involved in their communities and making a difference. And we're going to hear a lot of cool stories. And I'm excited to go over that with you. Anybody that has got to know me, whether it's through the music scene, whether it's through the sports scene, or just being bros or being a friend of mine, whatever, right? Um, you see that I'm very big on building community. And that's something I've been big on since probably the last 7, 8 years, really. I'll be 29 in July this year. And I really started putting a focus on it when I started my music journey, to be honest. I was just getting out of sports broadcasting for a time. I took a little hiatus from sports broadcasting, and I jumped into the music world. Started recording, uh, like I said, about 7 years ago now. And I started seeing how cool the community is, the arts community, and just creators, the creative world. And as I started getting familiar with more and more people doing shows and just talking to people and getting to know them, I started realizing that I wanted to build community. I wanted to help grow the community, not only citywide, not only statewide, not only nationwide, but worldwide. And that's the big thing that I focus on, and that's something I'm very happy to bring to you with this podcast, because the people that I'm going to have on this podcast are difference makers. They make an impact in the community in a variety of ways. So we're going to go over that. But a lot of people talk about when they're trying to look into a podcast, or they're trying to get their buddies you know into a podcast, or they ask the question, why should I listen to that podcast? That's usually the question that the buddy asks, who why should I listen to this podcast? And for me, the big thing first off is community growth. We're going to build community by hearing the stories of these creators, and we're going to get to know them together. Now, some of the guests I'll have on, those are my bros. Those of you that are in the music business, the music scene, they know, that I have a collective that I'm a part of, Lahele, and Lahele means together. So obviously that's a big thing. Just to pivot back, so some of those bros will be on the podcast here on the Inside Edge Network, and obviously I know them pretty well. You'll get to know them pretty well at that point. But then there's going to be other difference makers in the community that I know, but I don't really know the whole story, right? And I got to give a shout out to Papa Moon, because he's really inspired not only me, but I think a lot of people by doing Real Talk with Papa Moon, talking to everyday people, that have done a ton of different things. I do want to give a shout out to him. He just had Mike Richards on his podcast, CrossFit Games, competitor, MC for the CrossFit Games. I won't give it all away, but just hearing those stories inspired me. And I feel like right now is so important to keep building community. So I'm going to be bringing that with the music community and the creative world. So any creators out there hearing this right now, I'll have my email available. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to me on social media. Obviously, first off, Inside Edge, right there. It's going to come right back around. There it is. Follow Inside Edge Net, at Inside Edge Net, on TikTok, Twitter, IG, YouTube, and Facebook, all the social media, and stay locked in with the network. And also, stay locked in with me, Eli Moon, at the Man They Call Moon. You can reach out to me there, and if you'd like to be a guest, reach out to me. With that being said, not only community, but we're going to have a ton of fun, right? We're going to have a ton of fun. Now, I guess those go hand in hand, but I just want to highlight as well that we are going to have a ton of fun. When you hear this, you're going to not only be able to smile, but you're also going to be able to laugh. You're going to get to hear some cool stories. Now, I will say this too. We are going to have some conversations that are, probably going to need some tissues to wipe your eyes a little bit, and I might be right there with you because we're going to get emotional. We're going to be vulnerable here on this podcast, and we're going to have some conversation. But we're going to have a ton of fun and continue to build upon this community growth. And then obviously number 3, we are going to have, knowledge gained from this podcast. I'm very big on learning every day, learning something new every day and progressing, growing. And I think that's what is going to be shown on this podcast as we move along here together on this journey is I'm going to learn a lot. You're going to learn a lot. We're both going to learn a lot. And all of us, we're going to learn so much. And it's going to be awesome to just hear these stories and not only be inspired and smile, but also, get some education, especially for some people that are looking to get into the music business or just want to know more about it. This is your opportunity to do so just by staying locked in here. This will be the home for for conversations with Eli Moon. The Inside Edge Network will be Tuesdays at 7 p.m. So if you're here right now, you're doing a great job, and you'll just see me again next Tuesday. So yeah, big thing there to remember is community, fun, knowledge. Big things I pride myself on. So with that being said, I want to talk about a few things that make me Eli Moon. I talked about Lahele. We really announced Lahele, the music collective that I'm a part of, at the end of 2024 with our show at Brothers Lounge. And it was a great time. And at that moment, we started really stepping out as a full force unit, Lahele, and letting the world know we are here. And we are together. Lahele, like I said, means together. So it was awesome. And I'm a part of Lahele. We are based out of Cleveland, Ohio. We do shows not only here in Cleveland and Ohio, but we also do shows out of state as well. Last year, we went to Texas and New York, and I'll talk about that in a little bit later. But definitely excited. This year, we got some trips planned already to be out of state and performing in a city near you. So excited about that. The other thing I want to talk about is the network we're on right here, InsideEdge Network, okay? Obviously, there's 2 different worlds probably merging here. There's people that know me from the music scene, and there's people that know me from the sports world, right? Or you may just know me and be tuning in and like, you have a podcast? And hey, I do. But I want to talk about the Inside Edge Network. I did a radio show with Rob and Double A, the main event, back 10 years ago. And I got a call from Double A, and he said, I'd love to bring the main event back together. And we did. And now we're here every Sunday talking with you guys about the sports takes. So obviously, that's the Inside Edge Network side of things. I came back into the sports world. I used to cover the Cavaliers, the Cleveland Monsters, UFC events. I used to cover really anything you could think of sports related and did a lot of coverage there. But I had stepped away from it for a moment and pursued music now for the last 7 years. And like I said, built Lahele with my brother's narrator, Mark Easy, Meezy, Cliche, Mushu. I mean, the list goes on and on, right? There's a strong unit there, right? But a tight unit at that. Let me say that. So the list goes on, maybe not on and on. It goes on, and then we're together. But with that being said, we are building the community with both what we're doing, the events we hold in Cleveland and out of state with Lahele, and now bringing your source of sports, entertainment, arts here on the Inside Edge Network. So I just want to kind of bridge the gap here on who I am and why we're having this conversation today. So with that being said, I just wanted to go over my favorite moments of 2025. I'm not going to hold you super long here today. This is the pilot episode. I wanted to get on here, introduce myself to those of you that may not know me, and I wanted to talk about the concept, what we're going to, why should you tune in to Conversations with Eli Moon? Why should you tell all your friends and family, right? So I want to go over that. I'm going to go over my favorite moments of 2025. Now, these are just a few. There's no 1 through 5 ranking them. It's just 5 favorite moments I had of 2025. There's a ton of them. It's hard to narrow it down to just 5. But I'm going to do that. Then I will reveal some upcoming news that you may have already seen if you follow me on Instagram and social media. But I'll cover it here too. And then I'll announce my guest for next week, the first guest of Conversations with Eli Moon. So let's get into my favorite moments of 2025. I want to start first off with my bro Mushu's album release show at Mercury Music Lounge, the So Solid album release party show. Just a great time at Mercury Music Lounge there in Lakewood. Mushu really got to work on this project. And if you've heard him talk about it, you hear how important it was to him, right? He had been working on this project for quite some time with Narrator, and I was asked to be a part of the project, the album, with the song I've Been Trying. And I got to be honest, when I got the call from Mushu, he said, I want you on this song. And I smiled, first off, because Mushu's my bro, and I'm excited to work with him. We've actually, up until that point, had not had a song together. So I was very excited for that. So I get the call. He tells me, I want you on this song. I've been trying. Me and Narrator worked on it today. I'm going to send it over to you for your verse. And I listened to it. And I listened to it again. And then I listened to it a few more times. And I understood the magnitude of this verse that I was going to write. It was a song for those that are healing from the past, from trauma, from things that have been tough. It's a song for people that need to realize they are loved, they are worthy, they are valued and appreciated, and we need you here. And it's, the song says it in the title, I've Been Trying. And so I wrote that verse, we got in the studio, we laid it down, and then obviously album comes out in May, and we rocked out. Packed house. Shout out to Mushu, Narrator, DJ'd and rocked out the entire night. Phoenix Vibes was also there performing on the card. Groovy Roots, myself. We all were celebrating Mushu in the So Solid album release show. Mushu does also have some So Solid merch, I'm sure, still available, because, man, he is always having that ready to go, and had a ton of it at the show. It sold out dang near the merch, but I'm sure he has some ready to go. He's always prepared. So go ahead and get a hold of Mushu on Instagram. I believe it's So Solid Mushu. Go ahead and follow him, reach out, see if you can get some merch. I have a shirt. Pop Moon has a shirt. Everybody's got a shirt. So, but no, Mushu's album release party, amazing, great time, and a great album. So Solid, out on all streaming platforms. Go check it out with Mushu, his album So Solid. Another one of my favorite moments was the Thanksgiving benefit show that me and Manny Santiago had put together. Now, Manny, I want to give a huge shout out to, because he was working with Central Villa 25 and putting this together, just really putting this Thanksgiving benefit together, like to take care of families, not only with turkeys and donations that way, but money donations, however, to help families in need and during this Thanksgiving season that just happened. I was seeing Manny post on social media about, hey, let's keep the donations rolling. And I reached out and said, hey, how can I help? I think, a great idea would be putting a show together and getting people there to rock out and continue to build this community and help the community at this point, right? In these efforts. Manny loved the idea. I reached out to Jax from Pierce Poets, and I want to give a shout out to Jax as well for working with me so quickly to get this last minute show on at the Foundry. And I want to shout out the Foundry, their new location in Old Brooklyn. Amazing. And it was a great time. Just amazing time. I also want to shout out Christian from Pierce Poets, who ran lights and sound that night, because that was an amazing time. And everybody from Pierce Poets that ran, they're just did their thing, really. Like, just made sure the night went on seamless, right? So that was awesome. and we raised a ton of donations. We helped out over 150 families between the show and the other organizations Manny was working with. And it's just amazing, just absolutely amazing. So want to give a shout out to Manny, to Pierce Poets. I want to give a shout out to the Foundry and all of you that donated this Thanksgiving season, because you helped out a family, and that just makes me smile. That just makes me smile. So yeah, let's move on to my next moment that really was awesome in 2025. And I gotta say, shout out to everybody in New York and Texas. We will be back this year as a collective. Lahele will be back, and I'm excited sooner than you think. And I'll have more on that next week and the coming weeks to follow here on Conversations with Eli Moon. And you can stay tuned on my Instagram at the man they call Moon, social media, just in general. Yeah, I got to talk about these trips. Texas, first off, let's start with New York. I know I don't want to. I'm going to go in order here. Let's talk about New York for a moment. Shout out my guy CP the DJ. We worked together to co-promote a show that featured artists across not only New York and Ohio, but the United States. Artists from all over the United States. Louisiana was in the house. Virginia, the DMV area was in the house. Just a lot of great artists. I brought artists from Ohio out to New York, and we rocked out. We had a great time. New York's beautiful, and I cannot wait to be back. Shout out to my guy CP the DJ for working with me, my bro, and getting this done. I'm excited to put something like that together again this year. So we'll see. We'll see. I got to talk to the bro, and we'll work some things out. But yes, a lot planned for everybody out there in New York. We will be back in New York this year. I want to talk about Texas as well. Texas was awesome. This was my second time being in Texas. I was out there for South by Southwest in 2023. I opened up for Paul Wall out there. It was a great time, great energy, and I had to get back there. So I booked a show out there at Studio 210 in San Antonio, and my guy Cliche went out there with me, and we rocked out with my bros from Texas, Lil Yoda, Ruthless June, and Devontae. Again, at Studio 210 in San Antonio, a great time, just an amazing time. I want to shout out Scarface Promotions that worked with me on this event in September, and I'm very excited. We have some announcements coming very, very soon on some big plans there for everybody out there in Texas. But man, it was awesome. It was my guy Cliche's first time in Texas, and I mean, the sun's always shining. So we had a great time, and just got to really see, first off, some sunshine, but more of what Texas is about. And it kind of like, I talked about New York and going out there and getting to mingle with so many different artists and talk to so many different artists and producers and just people that are creatives and making a difference in their community. And it was so cool to just sit there and talk to people out there in New York, from not only New York, different states, and then Texas, going and talking to my bros in Texas and different people. And that makes me happy. That makes me really happy and inspired to continue to build this community and have the community grow even further. And that's very exciting. So got to talk about the out-of-state trips. So we covered it. We also had a very, very cool blue Chevy Blazer that we got to drive around all over San Antonio, and we went to Austin, rocked out with my guy Lil Yoda there at Blindside Lounge there in Austin, Texas. Great venue, and we rocked out. We got to watch the Bud Crawford fight, Bud Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez, which Bud Crawford just retired, announced his retirement. So we technically watched his retirement fight, it appears, in Texas. So me and Cliche went out there, rocked out with Lil Yoda. He performed out there, did his thing. A lot of great artists out there that I got to see. So it was just absolutely amazing. Love that. Another thing I loved was right here in Cleveland, Ohio, July 26th of 2025, we did the Moon Bash, first ever Moon Bash, my birthday bash. We had 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. We went closer to 1 a.m. by the time I got off stage, but we did 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. in the front stage at Brothers Lounge. And first off, shout out to Brothers Lounge for having faith in me and trusting me to put together an all-day event at their venue. It was amazing. So thank you, Brothers Lounge. Thank you to everybody that helped out that day 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. we had music in the front stage. Then in the concert hall, we had music from 8 p.m. to roughly 1 in the morning. It was just amazing. Amazing. It was so cool to see all of my favorite people and meet new people and just seeing everybody mingling with each other and talking and enjoying great music. I mean, an incredible card, over 20 artists on the bill. Absolutely amazing. And we're going to be running it back this year at Brothers Lounge this July, the second annual Moon Bash. So keep an eye out for that. Now, I want to talk about one other thing, and then I will send us on our ways here for this Tuesday evening, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Before I get to that and the closing statements here, I want to highlight another favorite moment of 2025, which was just creating. And I know that sounds a little broad, but just creating, being in the studio with my bro narrator and locking in to this album that we've worked on this past year, 2025, and for everybody that helped, with the project, with the album, being able to create that and the new music we're creating is so exciting. So exciting. And I got to give props to my bro narrator. That's my big bro. And he has just done an incredible job working on this album and believing in me. I got to thank him for believing in me for the last 5 years. Me and narrator met in 2020, end of 2020, and he believed in me at that time, and he's done an incredible job these last 5 years that I've known him, and a lot more years to come. We got a lot more business to take care of. So, but I'm very excited. I got to thank narrator for not only the work on this project, this album that we're going to be releasing this year, but also very proud of just the progress he's made throughout the last year and really since I've known him. So shout out to narrator as well. Shout out to the new music, and I'm excited. We got a big year on that side of things. We're going to be dropping a lot more. 2025 was a little quieter. I had the EP Don't Mind Me, I'm Healing on all streaming platforms available. Dropped at the beginning of the year. I do have my new single Denny, which is out on Untitled. I am selling it for $1. So just $1. It'll go right back into building the community, these shows, these events that we're putting on. It'll go right back there. So if you're interested in that, which I sure hope you are, hit me up about that and I'll send you the link. So that's really what I wanted to cover today. Some of my favorite moments of 2025. I promised you I'd get to some exciting news. I kind of hinted at it, but February 27th, my album release show featuring my bros Mushu, Cliche, and Gio. All of the Lahele family will be in the building that night. I would love to see all of you in the building that night as well. Tickets are $10. We're going to be running some cool deals here within the next few months where you can maybe bring an extra few friends. So keep an eye out on like promo deals on the tickets. But going to be an awesome time at Brothers Lounge in Lakewood, Ohio. So thank you to Brothers Lounge for allowing me to share my album with the world that night. So very excited. Shout out to my bro narrator. Like I said, produced the entire album, worked with me in the studio the entire time we put this together. So very excited about that. I'd love to see all of you out there. February 27th, Brothers Lounge, my album release show. Album title to be announced. Keep an eye out on the socials. And we have the announcement of the album name here very soon. I'll get more into that probably next week, to be honest with you. Because with that being said, I told you I'd announce my first guest of the Conversations with Eli Moon podcast here on the Inside Edge Network. And I'm very excited that my big brother narrator, my Lahele bro, is going to be here with me next week. And I took a pause there because it may not even be where I'm sitting right now. We might be in a different location. You might just have to tune in next week at 7 p.m. here on the Inside Edge Network to see where we're at. But one thing is for sure, it is going to be a conversation worth listening to more than once. So we're going to have narrator and I talking next week together about his journey in this music world. We're going to have a conversation about the music business, things he's learned that can help new artists and producers and creators along the way. So I want to thank you for tuning in here on the Inside Edge Network for the first episode of Conversations with Eli Moon and starting this journey with me. Go ahead and share this with a family member, a friend. Everybody nowadays, I feel like, has a big group chat with their family, so send it in there. And let's spread the word about building the community. And let's do it together. So with that being said, thank you once again. I am Eli Moon. This is Conversations with Eli Moon on the Inside Edge Network. My brother narrator next week, 7 p.m. Same time, same place, the Inside Edge Network. Location to be determined. See you then.